Oh God, here you go. You won a division for the first time since you were in grade school, and you think you're the God's greatest gifter.
I think going to the title game is the rarer and harder thing to do. So okay. I'd say that.
I don't know that rare. Man, pretty rare for Titans fans.
I'm not for one celebrating the division win, so
that just bursted my bubble, but I appreciate it.
Not that I'm against celebrating the division title. I still got AFC Central Championship T-shirts at home.
Are they a little big?
You remember it was 6 teams for a while. That's hard to do. It's hard to win a 6-team division.
That's true.
That is a fact.
So I don't think Jacksonville ever won the 6-team division.
Didn't they in '99 though, when Mark Brunell was?
That was when it was 5 teams then. It was just in let's see when we won in '99, yeah, but Cleveland came in '99, right?
Yep. Yeah, Cleveland came in '99. Played 2000, started 2000.
So, yeah, I guess we won that. Yeah, we won that year. It was 16 that year, I believe.
All right, we are live, but you guys don't have to stop talking. We're waiting for people to log in, and I'm having to change the title. Since everything got messed up again, you guys. You know I complain about this all the time, but Apple's on my list. I'm just waiting for some people to start watching.
How was it working playing for Coughlin? Was it as bad as people said it was?
It's it sounds a lot like what people say it's like playing for Belichick. There's just constant pressure. Like I never had a problem with him personally. And if you're a good guy and you work hard, he's generally pretty cool with you, but it's like you're not getting a whole lot of compliments or anything. It's always just constantly trying to find a way to make you feel like you're inadequate and you got to be better. And you don't really realize it. What's that?
Is it like constructive criticism?
Yeah, in its way. I mean, it's always constructive criticism. It's just like, I'll tell you an example, like Tony Baselli never once in his entire time playing for Coughlin was told that he had a good game by Tom Coughlin. And it's not like Coughlin's a jerk or anything. He's wired that way, that he's just constantly trying to find weaknesses and problems and fix them. So you get this overwhelming sense all the time that you're just always under pressure. But as far as like Coughlin himself, he's a different dude, but he's not a jerk, He never felt like he was doing anything to be an a-hole or anything. That's the way he's wired. He's just constantly going to be trying to get every single person better all the time.
Old school.
We had one of your former teammates on one of our episodes, and that was our question to him, was how it was.
You kind of miss it when it's gone. Like just playing in general, no matter which coach it is, you get done with the NFL and you realize like, oh wow, I kind of miss getting evaluated every single day. You get when you go to a normal job, you might go 3 months without anybody telling you how you're doing,
Fair enough.
Need that feedback. All right. Well, I know we're short on time and this took a while, so we'll go ahead and get things started. Matt and Harish, did you guys share across to the other platforms? Oh, I see what you did.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Man, you guys are so good.
I know.
And on the app as well.
All right, here we go. We're recording on both. All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the AFC South Fan Battle podcast, sponsored by Sports Host. My name is Samantha Burnett. Our commentators for this evening, joining us for the Titans, we have DC. Joining us for the Texans, we have Matthew Briggs.
Let's go.
Nothing positive to say this week.
No.
For the Colts, we have Harish Nukala.
Frank Reich deserves an extension.
And for the Jaguars, we have me. Normally, we would have a Jaguars commentator, but we don't this evening. Everybody's busy or has COVID, so I hope they all get better, all the people that were supposed to be on this evening. But tonight we have two very special guests. One has been on here with us before because we were anticipating not going live this week. We were supposed to wait 2 weeks. We told everybody, oh, we'll just go live and do an update in 2 weeks. But with all the drama surrounding the Texans and everything going on, we figured we might as well get these two on here to give us their feedback on it. So from the Texans Unfiltered, we have Pat Storm.
Hello. What? Wait, there's drama? There's no
Who would have thought, right? Also joining us, former defensive tackle for the Jaguars and Texans and current radio commentator and podcast host of Deceptively Fast, Mr. Seth Payne.
Hey, yeah, it's not drama. This is all according to plan. It's somebody's plan somewhere, and there's nothing to see here in Houston.
Well, Seth, before we go on, I do want to mention somebody wanted me to say hello to you. I tried to get him to come on the podcast this evening just to pop in and give a little surprise. But Mr. Tom McManus,
Oh yeah,
your
Tommy.
former teammate, he wanted me to tell you hello.
Yeah,
said-
Tommy's awesome.
I
Tom
was
was like one of the oldest old school linebackers that I ever played with. He was tending bar for like 2 years in Chicago before he actually got a chance to play in the NFL. He had a big, thick neck, like a Tikio Spikes type neck, and just an old school like beer drinking, bar room brawling type of linebacker. He's awesome. And now, and he got married and he flipped the 180, and he's like the ultimate family man.
Yeah, he did have a show here. It was kind of like set up like a bar or whatever, where he would do have like former players on and stuff. It was pretty cool. But yeah, we had him on a training camp episode, and he was telling us all about that and training under Coughlin. And so, but yes, he wanted me to tell you hello this evening. So, well, let's jump right into it. We know why we're here. We don't have you guys for very long. The drama, not drama plan, I don't know. We don't know what's going on. What's going on with the Texans?
Patrick,
Actually, Seth, let me start. I have a very important question, actually, to start.
Okay.
I only have one. I'm going to let you guys take it off. Okay. But since you were drafted by the Jaguars in 97, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you went to the Texans in 2002, right?
Mm-hmm.
So which one was better?
Oh man.
Got him.
Look, they were both different. In Jacksonville, obviously, we were really, really good. I got there after they'd gone to the first AFC Championship game, but I was there for the one in '99. And that was fun. That was my experience. I kind of had the JJ Watt experience in terms of what kind of team he's been on. Like Watt was, when he came in, he was on a really good team, and it was exciting and it was fun and awesome. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, wow, it's not like this all the time, and it can be kind of miserable at times. Now as a team, okay, as an individual, JJ's a whole different stratosphere. Don't get me wrong, but as far as his team success, JJ's had relatively sustained success, and they've been competitive teams. So I had fun in Jacksonville because it was a really good team, and I like the city. I got to Houston, and in Houston in the first year, there was so much pent up excitement for the team from the Oilers having been gone for several years. And it is such a big city that it kind of blew me away in terms of just what the experience was like. And it was a better system for me. Dom Capers' system fit me better. So I think I was a better player in Houston than I was in Jacksonville. I was kind of I was kind of stuck in between.
You and Gary Walker, man, y'all are beast.
And and I got to play next to Gary both places. So that was like, it was kind of cool. I had a unique experience playing in the same division, but I'm not gonna fall for that one. They were just different experiences. It's like my children. You tell one kid you love each other equally, even though
Well, I couldn't not. It's the Fan Battle podcast, so I had to ask. I had to. All right, guys, get into it. I'll let y'all take over.
I'll let Patrick start. Patrick, where are we? Patrick is plugged in. I don't know if you guys know that, and sometimes people might think people are full of crap or anything. Patrick's very plugged in.
That's where I get most of my That's where I get most of my info. Is like if I want to find something out, I'm like let me see what Pat's saying before I say anything.
To be fair, I kind of get my information from Pat's number one fan, who's one of our moderators. We call him Adam Shifter, Dylan Cieslik. And he's like, hey, man, Pat says this. I'm like, look, I've talked to Pat. Now I know Pat's right. So I get it from his number one fan. So, Pat, great work, man. Tell us what you got.
Guys, thank you. So we've got an unhappy franchise quarterback right now, a bunch of disarray in the front office, even though they hired Nick Caserio, who is a really good GM candidate. But with everything else that's going on, it, just looks really bad. And so you got a lot of players that are pissed off, other employees that are pissed off. And so naturally it's trickled out to the fans and they're pissed off. So ownership looks like they have no idea what's going on and that they're going to potentially lose this franchise quarterback that it's taken them 17 years to get. So I don't know, man. Like it's one of those things right now where we have no choice but to sit and back and watch and see how this is all going to unfold, and just kind of hope for the best and hope it all works out in the end.
Yeah, it's really hard when somebody asks you to try to explain what's going on in Houston right now to get to the heart of the matter without spending like 20 minutes doing it. And I think Patrick hit the nail on the head. The franchise quarterback is very unhappy, and probably for a variety of reasons, but it all goes back to the culture has not been great this past year, really the last 2 years, at least since Bill O'Brien took over as the GM 18 months ago. And he and his director of football operations, Jack Easterby, just made a lot of very sketchy decisions that you guys all know about. But Deshaun really was a good soldier the entire time, right, Patrick? Like, I mean, he hasn't complained for 2 years. There hasn't been people were criticizing him this year for being too happy in the midst of everything. So at the end of the season, Cal McNair had told him he'd have some input into the selection of the GM and head coach. Deshaun said that the team needed a culture shift. And then they went and hired another guy from New England. And I think it just feels like, to Deshaun and maybe a lot of people in the organization, felt a little bit like more of the same. And nobody really knows what's going on right now.
Okay. So if you're a betting man, how much would you say there's a chance of Deshaun being traded?
I would still say less than. I'm going to say that's unlikely, just because there's still so much time for it to resolve itself. I do think Deshaun is entrenched and angry, and when it gets emotional, then all of a sudden the dollars and cents don't matter as much. And it really, a lot of things need to be smoothed over and figured out before it's as simple as Deshaun needs to blow off some steam. At least that's the way I'm reading it.
What about you, Pat?
I agree. I think it's one of those things right now that Deshaun's just going to kind of cool his head and sit down and talk to him and see where they want to go. And because we've been told time and time again that it's not the person that was hired that he has a problem with. It's the process in which everything has unfolded.
Right. Just wants to be more involved. He wants to be heard from what I say and read.
Get it? I get it. You're the franchise quarterback. They've just invested a ton of money in you. And you've dealt with some stuff over the past few years. And like Seth said, you've been the good soldier and you haven't complained. And now you have a chance to have your voice heard, to take this team in the right direction, to make it a respectable franchise. And the owner tells you that's going to happen. And then it doesn't,
Not for nothing. I think that Bill O'Brien is a good coach. His GM moves is what, got him criticized and fired. Bill O'Brien's a really good coach. He's found ways to win a division with, bad quarterbacks. So, I'm there with it.
I guess, Seth. Go ahead. I was going to ask you, Seth, from your like point of view, being on an inside in a franchise like that, when you have a franchise quarterback that's unhappy, like what is that? Does it change the dynamic of the rest of the team, or is it like, hey, we're with you, Deshaun, we understand how you feel, like especially everything that's going on with the whole Jack Easterby thing and how much of a great guy he apparently has been to everyone. What is that like?
It's a really good question, and I'll be honest. I don't know if I don't, with no disrespect whatsoever to Mark Brunell, I didn't play with a guy quite like Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun's like in a whole different level in terms of being a superstar, rare type of quarterback. And I don't think that anybody would begrudge. I'd be surprised if anybody would begrudge Deshaun Watson feeling the way he does. Especially given how at least some of the other players definitely felt about the situation. So it's a tricky thing in the NFL in the offseason. They say there's a time for pay and a time for play. And for the most part, guys don't get into other guys' issues when it comes to contract disputes. But this isn't a contract dispute. This is a substantial, hey, I've got an issue with this culture dispute, and that affects everybody. So I think that between Nick Caserio and the new head coach, and especially the head coach, he's without Deshaun Watson on his side and buying in, it's going to be really, really hard to be an effective head coach. We look at what's going on with the Houston Rockets right now, where James Harden doesn't really want to be there, and it's hard to get everything and everybody to mesh. With football, it's probably even that much more complex. So it's gonna affect the team. It's just a matter of I expect it to get resolved. I think the Texans, I don't know if they would admit that they screwed up, but I think that they know it's paramount that they don't screw up this coaching hire. There's got to be somebody that Deshaun is cool with.
So speaking of that, has there been any people that has popped out to either one of you?
Who's your favorite right now, Patrick?
It's a toss-up between Joe Brady and the potential of Brian Daboll.
Yeah. And I don't know with Brian Daboll. I'm watching the game the other day, and I'm thinking, man, I don't know how much of this is Brian Daboll and how much of it is Josh Allen, which is, I know every single one of us didn't predict that Josh Allen would be quite what he is right now. I don't want Deshaun running as much as Josh Allen. I don't think that Daboll would have Deshaun run as much. I think he would use some really nice RPOs and option packages that would use the threat of Deshaun running to make it a better offense. But I don't want Deshaun taking as much as abuse. He's not as big a guy. He's really, really strong, but he's not as big a guy as Josh Allen.
Well, with our team, our offense wasn't really the problem. It was our defense, and we had some bad mishaps happen, fumbles and such. Would it be a bad idea of going after a defensive coordinator, maybe Roman or somebody other?
I'm totally cool with a defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, offensive coordinator, because we've seen time and again there's plenty of great offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators that aren't good head coaches, and we've seen defensive-minded head coaches who have yielded us Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger. And I feel like Deshaun's already there. So I'll go with the classic. Hey, give me the leader of men who's got a bright football mind. Because there's a difference. Like some guys are great offensive minds. Some guys are great defensive minds. And then there's guys that are just great football minds. I think Joe Gibbs was like that. I think Bill Belichick is like that. So take the guy with the best football mind and he'll figure out how to make both sides of the ball work.
Is there a guy like that right now that, the Texans haven't really crept up as a candidate that you're like, man, I just think this guy would be great for us? I guess one of the names that come to my mind, just not really knowing much, right? Robert Saleh is something I've heard a lot about.
Yeah.
I feel like that might fit that mold that you're looking at.
Right. And Robert Saleh, there's a couple things about Robert Saleh. And I know I just told you that I don't want to think about like hiring a defensive guy to fix the defense. Robert Saleh's influence on the defense, I think at least could get them to being a mediocre defense sooner than maybe other guys, just because you're going to play a lot of cover 3. It's going to be relatively basic. And if you can get guys coached up really well in what their roles and responsibilities are, you can get the most out of some mediocre talent. But the defense needs talent upgrades a lot. The other side of it is that Robert Saleh was a quality control coach, kind of like they're like the young grad assistant type coaches when I was with the Texans, and I was impressed with him back then. I really liked him a lot. Sometimes those guys are miserable and they hate their jobs. Saleh was like exactly how you see him on the sideline now. That's how he was as a quality control coach. Like he's holding the cards for the scout team and just like giving you a pep talk before the scout team reps and everything. So I've always liked him a lot.
Now, I know we only got you guys for a couple more minutes, but we have some feedback from the group. Of course, it streams in multiple places, one of them being in our private group. And right now in the private group, hashtag Fire Jack Easterby is trending on this live feed. So there's that. Also, somebody commented and said, I see a lot of tears on this screen. I'm assuming they're talking about Matt, Pat, and you, Seth, maybe.
Probably
but
all of us.
one question is, Pat and Seth both, do you guys think a lot of the Deshaun influence, and I'm coming from a Jaguars fan standpoint, could maybe be his agent? Because we saw what happened to Jacksonville with Ramsey. They shared the same agent. Is a lot of this kickback possibly because, of course, things aren't good in Houston, right? We know that. Or possibly could. We don't know. Rumors. But could that be an influence? Maybe.
100%. Yeah.
You think so?
It makes all the sense in the world. This stuff doesn't. Schefter, Rappaport, Chris Mortensen, those guys aren't talking to Deshaun. They're talking to Deshaun's representatives. And Deshaun's talking to them and, just voicing his displeasure. And so David is absolutely 100% the one that's feeding them this stuff. And, that's his job. And he's not going to go directly to the team with it because then the team has that opportunity to fix it without looking bad. And right now, David is using this as leverage to, if in the event that nothing does get fixed, that it could possibly force Deshaun's way out of Houston. So
Is that what he wants?
Not right now.
The agent, okay.
Not right now.
And David Mulligetta is he's really become a very powerful agent, and he's got a really interesting story. He started off with Earl Thomas when Earl Thomas was in college, and I think Mulligetta is a guy that probably sees athletes as having more leverage than they're actually exercising now. If you look at the NBA and look at what Rich Paul and LeBron James have been able to do, I think that Mulligetta is kind of a visionary and sees athletes taking more of these. I don't know if calling it a power play is the right move, but I think with Deshaun, if you look at maybe what happened with Aaron Rodgers for the last few years with Mike McCarthy, I think David Mulligetta looks at situations like that and thinks, you know what, players don't have to put up with that anymore. And Deshaun's in the physical prime of his career right now. He's coming into his own mentally. Like this year, he was a polished NFL quarterback. He took that next step that you want to see in the fourth year. And you don't want to see the next 4 years wasted by the choices of a team that frankly have not shown themselves to be all that great at decision making in the last couple. They've had 3 GMs in 3 years, So that's I think the agent's always going to have an effect, but I think Mulligetta is fiercely protective of his clients in a way that I think every agent says they are, but I think Mulligetta really lives and breathes it.
Now, I know that you guys have to sign off, but Pat, do you have any final thoughts and tell us where to find you as far as tell us what you're up to and your podcast and all that, and any final thoughts? And then we'll end with you, Seth.
I'll drop one little tidbit is right now the team has like zero plans to trade him. And I've talked to people close to Deshaun in the past few days, asking them how serious this stuff is. And a lot of them quote a local writer, John McClain for the Chronicle, and saying one of them even said, "What did John just say?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "John just said he literally has a better chance of becoming the head coach of the team than Deshaun is of getting traded." So to me, it seems like, they're going to work through this thing. And I don't think Deshaun is hoping to get traded. I think Deshaun is absolutely 100% hoping this works itself out and can stay with this team and help this team be successful. So I'll give the Texans fans that little bit of relief that it does not look like this is going to be heading towards a divorce. But obviously things could change. So, but if you guys want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at PatrickStormTU. Our website is TexansUnfiltered.com. We've got a weekly podcast, everything Texans. Just check us out, man. Thanks.
And Seth, what about you? Any final thoughts and where we can find you and see all your good content?
You can follow me on Twitter at Seth C. Payne, Instagram, where I post once every 2 to 3 months at Seth C. Payne. And you can listen to, if you're in Houston, Sports Radio 610. If you're not, the Deceptively Fast Podcast on everywhere except Spotify because corporate stuff.
Well, I'd like to give you guys a plug. I feel like you and Tom McManus need to be on each other's podcasts.
Oh, good call. You know what? I'll call Tommy tomorrow. I'll get him on there. He's awesome. I love Tom.
Yeah, he's got his, you've got yours. You guys can do a little.
Before y'all go though, I got one question, and everybody else is saying the same thing in our group chat. JJ Watt, is he a Texan next year?
Ooh.
I don't think so.
No, Pat.
I doubt that.
The way I see it is they need draft capital, but
So do you trade him for anything less than a second, first?
I think that they trade him if they can find a place that he wants to go, they trade him. But if they try to keep him past the beginning of free agency, that would be dirty pool, given what he's done for the franchise. So I think they would probably release him at that point. So in a good way, like where he could go and make his own decision about where he wants to go. Yeah. Does that sound about? What do you think, Patrick?
Yeah, and I think it was pretty telling in Casario's introductory press conference the other day when he was asked about it. He sounded very definitive about Deshaun and that Deshaun is our quarterback. But when it came to JJ, he said we have to do what's in the best interest of the team. So to me, it sounds like that notion has already kind of crossed his mind, and that they'll explore that option. The team looked to move him at the trade deadline. They had offers, but nothing was, worth it at the time. So who knows? Somebody may approach him again with a decent offer and send him packing, or like Seth said, they may just let him walk and he chooses his own fate.
That'll be tough. I'll be happy about it because I'm a diehard Jaguars fan. My kids' name are Jackson and London. Okay. I won't explain why it's London, but my son it's hard having interdivision. Like my son is a huge JJ Watt fan, and it just really upsets me. Like I took him to the Texans game and he had to wear his JJ Watt jersey. And I told him, I don't care what you do not boo the Jaguars. You can cheer the Texans all you want, but you cannot boo the Jaguars. You're grounded. Straight up. No, but that's gonna hit really hard. And I hate that for you guys, but we thank you guys so much for coming on. I know you guys got to go. Pat, I'm sure we'll see you soon. And Seth, anytime you want to join us, we'd love to have you.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Please invite me again. This is fun. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Also, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Good night.
Well, DC, I know you haven't done a lot of talking.
Oh, man. So you want me to talk about the Titans and the Ravens game?
I sure do.
It's just
what
simple.
happened?
We got punched in the mouth. We got beat up on the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively. And after that 10-0 start, I felt like the Titans got a little bit comfortable, right? They got too comfortable, and they underestimated, the resiliency of Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. We're a run-first team, so being that we couldn't get started with Derrick Henry, they shut him down. It wasn't much we could do. If we can't get Derrick Henry going, then we can't open up the rest of our offense. Defensively, I think we did very well, considering the circumstances. But at the end of the day, the Ravens just punched us in the mouth. That's all I got to say about it.
I do want to know, what the heck, the whole
coaching was a big problem too. Coaching
dancing on the logo. What a slap in the face.
Oh, that was just revenge, and I wasn't mad at them for doing that. The Ravens deserved to win. Coaching was a huge issue. What stood out to me was when Mike Vrabel and company didn't decide to go for it on that 4th and 2.
I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
I was shocked too.
It was the 3rd and 2 right before that.
Yeah.
And the 4th and 2. Not only did he not go for it, Derrick Henry wasn't even in the game.
Yeah, and that's another thing I didn't like.
He wasn't even there. So, the thing that blew my mind is the one thing I always gave Mike Vrabel credit for and the Titans credit for is no matter how bad Derrick Henry plays, they continue to give him the ball, right? He's going to find his way. But in those two downs, I was just like, I had to check for a second. And then I heard the announcer say something about his shoe and something stupid. And I was like,
the Ravens just shut him down. You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. They game planned all around that.
His prior, Vrabel is infamous for going for it on 4th down, 2-point conversion. He is infamous to win the game. This is the playoffs. If you're going to do it anytime, the time is now. You got your 4th and 3, and you got a 6'4", 285-pound running back. If he falls forward, he's picking up the 3 yards. That's. Man, I just think he was playing scared.
I think it kind of goes back to you saying they got punched in the mouth. What's funny is the Ravens played contain most of the game to keep Derrick Henry from hitting the outside, right? So
and Tannehill from running through.
This stupid little read options that Tannehill runs, I see it coming, but I'm like, oh shit, here it comes. And no, they couldn't do anything.
Arthur Smith was just I don't know what was up with him, man. I don't know, man.
But you say he got hit in the mouth. But I saw a stat watching the game when not Titans, but when the Ravens are trailing 10 points going into the second half, they have not won one game. They're, I think, 0-5.
They're the only team in the league. They're the only team in the league.
Second quarter, not second half, but second quarter. They're the only team not to win the game. So I mean, as a Titans player, man, you just gotta. I don't know it. That's gotta hurt.
It's just a weird game.
I seen it in their body language, during pregame, because I follow the Titans exclusively. I seen it in their body language during the pregame, man. They was just too comfortable. The touchdown on the division win, right? The crown. It's been a long time since we won a division. They were just very comfortable playing at home. They didn't think that the Ravens was going to find a way to, fight back and win the game.
Well, let's be honest. You had the Ravens number last 3-4 games. Y'all been undefeated against them. So I mean, there's that chip on the shoulder, and sometimes that's dangerous, man. When you think you have their number.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like the way I saw it was just like, it's not the fact that the Ravens haven't been able to beat the Titans. I think it really comes down to a point to where I was just like, some team, you just have some team's number, right? Regardless of how good you are, how bad the other team is,
Jaguars
you just
and
have
Colts.
their number, right? You
Jaguars
just
and
have
Colts.
their number. You just have their number.
Another thing that stood out to me too was Mike Vrabel and Arthur Smith and Shane Bowen. They didn't stick to the game plan. Shane Bowen did a good job because he was horrible all year.
I get what you're saying. They didn't stay to the game plan, but
offensively they didn't stick to the game.
When that game plan gets stopped, you got to change it. I mean, let's be honest. After that first quarter, Henry was just getting mowed over at the line. So you had, Elliott, that safety, he was just hitting y'all hard. You got to change it up. It
wasn't just him; it was Judah.
By the way,
it was Judon and their rookie linebacker as well.
Very underrated safety, Elliott. I
wish
I
he
love
played
Deshaun
for the
Elliott.
I do
Love
too.
Deshaun Elliott.
He's nice.
I
But
think,
but
I
you
don't
know, also Arthur Smith has been rumored to be incoming or interviewing for the Jaguars head coach position. Sam, what
Really?
Yeah. So okay.
He
Well,
interviewed
so-
the Jets
one
too.
quick question. One
So-
really quick. One
Okay.
quick question. What the hell happened to Corey Davis? I also feel like Corey Davis quit.
I think he got hurt, didn't he?
No. Dude had his helmet in his hand, was standing on the sideline on that last drive, just literally just standing there. Wasn't hurt, wasn't reported to be injured, nothing. He was just standing there.
it's
I
probably
honestly
shell
feel
shock.
like I felt like he Eric Ebron the Titans.
No, I can't speak to that, man. I can't speak.
I was like, wait, what's going on right now? Anyway, go ahead, talk about Arthur Smith to the Jags.
Oh, I mean, this is a playoff episode, so we know that we're not in the playoffs. But I guess
okay.
recap for what's been happening.
Yeah, talk about
La J got approved. Yay!
Awesome. Yeah, so they get to stay in Jacksonville.
Oh,
huh?
dang. Staying in Jacksonville confirmed. That's what's up.
We have met with Urban Meyer. We have talked to Bieniemy. We can't obviously meet with him until after the playoffs because of the COVID restrictions. I think that's who we're waiting on, to be
The
honest.
enemy?
Mhm.
I thought that's who the Texans was going after.
No, we didn't have
No,
no.
They
that's
won't
why
even
Watson was
interview
so
him.
mad. Watson,
Yeah.
from what I read.
They won't even interview. I think Urban Meyer is going to LA.
I mean, bittersweet. A lot of people are mad about it because he plays sick or whatever. And I read somebody say, "Oh, he leaves places toxic," but I'm like, does he? Because Ohio State.
Ohio State's in the national
There,
championship.
yeah,
right
they look
now.
pretty.
Hey, they playing
And
right
they look
now.
pretty
Like,
damn good. Like,
And I
don't-
mean-
And when he left Florida was still a top school. So
They were
Right.
good for 3
So,
years.
I mean, if we signed him, I wouldn't be upset. Let him build an empire and then get another coach in 3-4 years like we do anyway. I don't know. It's like I said, it would be bittersweet. But Bieniemy, I think we're holding out to actually meet with him and talk to him, and that would be nice.
So a lot of people didn't see because we haven't went live yet, but Pat was talking about that. Why the Texans haven't reached out to him? It's because from this year and last year, he has 12 interviews with teams. In
Jesus
all 12,
Christ.
he had
he's
zero
highly touted.
offers. That's
Oh,
that's
so
scary.
he's bombing interviews.
Yeah, that's scary.
That's
To
I mean,
Bieniemy,
Yeah,
either that or he's wanting too much money for his worth, with no.
I don't
proof.
think money should be.
I
Like
mean,
somebody
right,
like
that's-
Urban
Well,
Meyer. Somebody like Urban Meyer, who's been a head coach, who's got, not that he's worth 12 million, okay,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying,
Well, Urban Meyer's worth.
I think Urban Meyer is a better recruiter than he's actually a head coach because he finds ways to get the top talent in the nation every year.
right?
I'm not saying that
but
he's a
it's
bad
gonna be
coach.
different.
Yeah.
It's going to be different with the NFL.
It's going to be a whole lot different. That's
Right,
a
you got that talent already, so just game plan around.
It's
them.
really-
I
I
know,
think
like a
it's
lot of people
really
were mad at
not-
Khan about his comment about he was running personnel and, he's going to make sure that whoever comes in, he's got the final say. But look, we completely trashed the team that was one game away from the Super Bowl, and they are all gone.
I felt like that was more Tom Coughlin fault than it was the
Caldwell.
Econs.
Yeah, and
Tom Coughlin was coming up with these ridiculous fines and penalties on everybody.
well, and not only that, I
breaking
said
the
this.
team up.
I said this on the last episode. I would never call anybody racist without them knowing that they're racist, but we paid Nick Foles, Blake Bortles, and Andrew Norwell very extensive contracts, and Church, Boye, Ngakwe, Campbell, Fournette, Robinson, Ramsey, all gone.
Gibson.
Yeah, letting go of Allen Robinson
Gibson,
was a bad move. That was a bad move.
Yeah, he's coming to Indy this offseason.
One last thing, Jaguars, and then we'll move on to Colts. Today, Allen Robinson actually, Big Cat Country, tweeted him and said something about, because I guess he said he was talking about the Bears, and he said we've had 365 days to negotiate contracts. And Big Cat Country, who's kind of like a beat writing website.
like-
Yeah,
Jaguars,
like nation.
Kind of like the Storm Report.
right.
Yeah.
They said Allen, something about you can always come back to Jacksonville, and he liked it. And it was rumored last year that he wanted to come back.
He never wanted to leave from what
Jacksonville's a beautiful city. You heard Seth Payne talk about it. It's a pretty
from what I read,
It's okay.
he never wanted to leave. Him and Alan Hearns were both upset that they couldn't work out deals. So
yeah, and I mean, we'll never know what happened, but Khan put way too much trust in these two people that completely.
Why would he pay Marcus Lee over Allen Robinson?
That was a bad.
By the way, Devonta Smith is absolutely torturing Ohio State right now. He is literally fucking.
Well,
nice.
let's go ahead and
35-17, Bama.
Speaking of torture, we'll go ahead and talk about the Colts playoffs and being eliminated, and then we can go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Oh man, what a game! You know what?
That was a great game.
Let me first and foremost, and I tell you guys this every week. I've said it all season. If the Colts could play for 60 minutes, we could beat anybody. I'm not afraid of anybody. I don't think we have a bad matchup. I don't think there's anybody that gives us a bad matchup. Our only problem is we don't play for 60 minutes. Lo and behold, we had ample opportunity to win that game. Buffalo did not play better than us. We actually beat their offense. We're the first team in NFL history to have 475 yards of offense, no turnovers, and lose a playoff game. Absolutely insane. With that being said, I'm so sick of fucking Colts fans. I hate Colts fans with the
Hey,
burning
Maurice, we
passion.
actually have a
The Bills just wanted it more.
we actually have a question.
I don't think it does though. Like
We actually have a question from the group. Who will be the Colts starting quarterback next season?
you guys want my honest answer? It's been the answer I've given all year.
Sam Darnold.
And I hope to God it's Sam Darnold. Please.
Not Carson Wentz.
Fuck no. Please, Sam Darnold.
He said, "Fuck no."
You're gonna make Chris Jackson cry with that.
Football gods. Give me Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold will make us an instant Super Bowl contender.
So going back to that game.
No, hell no. No, he won't. No, he won't.
Here's the thing.
Going back to that game, Hurst, I told Tanner, me and Tanner were talking about it because he said it was going to be a complete beatdown. Colts have
people are dumb as hell if they thought we were.
So I told him there's two ways. If the Bills walk away, it's going to be a blowout. If it's going to be a close game, the Colts going to pull out the win. And then for a second, man, I thought it was a great game. It was close.
We had it. So the first was the fourth down conversion. Don't call that a bad play. It was actually an excellent, well called play.
It was a good call.
Michael Pittman dropped the football. Like he had it right there. Yeah, it was a little tiny bit overthrown. But Michael Pittman.
Your buddy Nick Fuentes said Bills have something the Colts don't have.
That guy. Yeah, he's a master troll. Like I seen a post where he trolled
Yeah,
and he said Darnold. Insane. He also said Darnold is underrated, so he agrees with you, Harish.
Love Sam Darnold.
Well, no, he said Darnold underrated, but Deshaun Watson sucks. Yeah,
I think he just trolls Texans fans. But the thing is, Michael Pittman had it. He even said, "I had the ball. I dropped the ball. It's on me." Mistake number one. Rodrigo missing the 3-point, the field goal, the chip shot field goal. Forget the 57-yarder. There's not a lot of quarterback, and that was against the wind. He was going to miss that one, right? He missed the chip shot. That was another missed opportunity. Kamoko Toure, who I love Kamoko Toure, that offsides on the interception that we had. On the very next drive after we failed the fourth down, the offsides on the interception. Like, we had ample opportunity to win that game. I don't think the Bills played better than us. I just think that they executed in small portions.
We got Bills Mafia on the chat right now.
That's what I'm laughing at.
It was a beatdown. Hashtag Allentown. Hashtag Bills Mafia. Hashtag Buffalo Kids.
That's the worst 3-point beatdown I've seen.
I love Bills Mafia. I'm so happy for the Bills.
We even were given a gift by the football gods when Jack Pascal fumbled the football and they said it wasn't a fumble. It was 100% a fumble, and they said it wasn't. And I was like, all right.
I was surprised. I was surprised on that.
And then we used timeouts.
Maurice, there's a comment from Keith LaRose. I think you would love this. He said, Darnold don't want to come to this division to have to go against the Titans defense 2 times a year. I think Don would love to come against the Titans.
Donald would love to go against the Titans defense twice.
This year's defense, not last season's defense. He wouldn't.
This isn't. Well, next year's defense is closer to this year's defense than it was last year's defense. So Sam Darnold would love to go against that trash defense that y'all have. And yeah, I'm telling you, I want Sam Darnold as my. If Philip, obviously, people need to realize what Frank Reich has done has been amazing. 3 different quarterbacks, 3 different years, 2 playoff appearances in 3 years, a winning record.
Frank Reich is a good coach.
We talk a lot about how quarterbacks don't have the same offensive coordinator enough. Frank Reich has never, in his coaching career, has never had the same quarterback two years in a row. That's partly why I kind of want Phillip Rivers to come back because of that consistency. If Phillip Rivers doesn't come back, option 2 for me is Sam Darnold, and option 3 for me is go trade up and get Zach Wilson from BYU.
I don't think
it's gonna suck if Big Ben and Phillip Rivers retires because they both came in the same draft year. That's gonna suck, man. It's gonna be hard to see.
We're at that time. It's just we are probably 2 pieces away from. This is a Super Bowl team. I look at this team on paper. It's a Super Bowl team. We're maybe 2 pieces away. We need a cornerback. We need a pass rush, and quarterback we can address. I think we need a big wide receiver. So 4 things. I think we're good. Solid. I think we're ready to win a Super Bowl. We're just a few pieces away.
I think the Titans would have gone further if Mitch Firkins would have gotten
a Super Bowl tattoo. Yeah.
AFC champions. And the next time
don't bring him up.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
I think Keith Rose real quick.
That's like the mascot of your fan base. What do you mean?
In the mud.
In the mud.
We need to bring him on one time. Like
Mitch Firkins, if you're listening to this, wherever you are, please come on this podcast.
Him and Waddell, that'd be great.
Him and who?
Waddell.
I don't know that guy.
That'll never happen. Never in a million.
Never heard of that. That's is he a Jaguars fan?
What, Waddell?
Yeah.
He knows what fan he is.
Who?
Colts fan. Come on.
I never heard of a Colts fan named Waddell.
Well, we got to wrap this. Huh?
That Bills guy said y'all need a lot more than at Colts. He's saying y'all need more than 4 pieces.
The Bills guy who you know what? We'll let the Bills guy be on his high. They haven't won a playoff game since before I was born. So we'll go ahead and let.
I'm happy for the Bills and the Browns. I honestly was so happy when we beat them in the playoffs, but I also at the same time felt so sorry because I was watching grown men cry. I was like,
before
you all brought your tables and everything, and just
before we go, saying with us being excited, let's get everybody's Super Bowl predictions. We'll start with you, Sam. Who's going to be in the Super Bowl? Who's going to win it?
What do I want to happen?
Yeah.
Packers, Bills.
Oh, okay. All right. Bruce?
I think I had Bills, Saints, and Bills winning it. Well, I can't remember if it's Bill Packers or Bill Saints. It might have been Bills Packers because I love Aaron Rodgers and I think the Packers win.
What about you, DC?
I got the Chiefs and the Saints, and the Chiefs winning it.
See, I live in Chiefs country and I hate it. I hate the Chiefs fans.
I don't like the Chiefs either, man. But
I got
the machine, man.
I got Browns, Rams, Browns.
Really?
Yeah, that team is just very underrated team. Everybody says they're overrated. And
the Rams or the Browns?
The Rams have the best defense.
Both
the Rams have the best. Yeah, the Rams have the best defense in the playoffs. There's not a better defense than the Rams.
They're both
except for that Ramsey girl that plays for them.
Yeah, the guy that completely. That guy's horrible.
Got to blame Tom Coughlin for that.
The Browns really impressed me, man. Having all those coaches out and just again, obviously the Steelers didn't belong in the playoffs, but completely obliterating the Steelers. A team they haven't beaten in 15 years in Pittsburgh. Like, kudos to them. I mean,
did you see Did you see Pouncey and Roethlisberger sitting on the bench by themselves after
It
the game?
sucks. Yeah, because it's. I mean, that could have been it. That
And
could've been
then
it.
Roethlisberger literally had like a tear, like
From both of-
the Indian commercial, just one single tear.
I
Both
think
of
he
them could be.
realizes.
Yeah, dude, he's old and he's
So
fat.
so is Pouncey's
Yeah,
like.
I
I mean,
what,
I
13
know I don't
years?
have nothing to say, but I'm not a fucking athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hurt
Well,
a lot.
I'm not-
Big Ben been banged up. He been beat up a lot. Like,
Yeah, last year he was out the entire season. That elbow probably still hasn't even recovered.
nah, because he's dinking and dunking. He's been doing that all
Yeah,
season.
he's dinking and dunking. He's overthrowing. He almost threw 5 picks yesterday. That's insane.
And I also wanted to say, the Browns, roster-wise, not team-wise, but roster-wise, they have the best team in the playoffs.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
they're deep. Oh yeah, really.
They're
That's a deep team.
They're deep.
Big deep.
I
by the way,
was late turning the game on, and when I turned it on, it was 28-0, and I
It
was
was
like,
already over.
Don't let this podcast let you forget that Ryan Tannehill had more interceptions yesterday than Philip Rivers.
Hold on, say that again.
Don't let this podcast make you forget that Ryan Tannehill had more interceptions than Philip Rivers.
That's cool. That's cool. He still had a good season.
well,
I just don't want you to forget.
DC, we thank you for coming on. I know this was your first time, but we hope you join us on here again. Tell us, do you have Twitter and all that? I know that you're a writer. So do you have Twitter?
I recently deactivated my Twitter, so I don't have
Smart.
a Twitter. Yeah, I recently deactivated it. I've been taking a break from social media for a while, so the next time I come back on, I have some stuff for you guys to follow. So
Awesome. Sounds good.
and thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, man, it's been
Anytime.
fun.
We always need Titans commentators. Normally, we don't have guests. So, this episode was a little different. We actually weren't even planning on going live,
Yeah,
but we had to with all this going
And Darren Wells, if you're listening, Darren, hit up our man DC. He's a writer for sports.
Yep.
We could make magic happen.
Yep.
definitely.
Well, guys, we thank you for joining us this evening. Remember, you can find all the action inside the AFC South Fan Battle group on Facebook, as well as the AFC South Fan Battle podcast page. Join us on Sports Host. Download the app if you need any more information. Contact one of us or look on those pages, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Frank Reich, coach for life.